Breaking news that nobody's talking about. The Baltic Collapse has entered its final phase. What Western media calls energy independence is actually a ticking time bomb, and it's about to go off. Remember those prosperous Baltic ports and factories? Today they're ghost towns. But that's not the real story. The real story is what's happening behind closed doors in Brussels, where emergency meetings are being held in complete silence. Let me show you something disturbing. While European officials celebrate Baltic independence, thousands of workers are losing their jobs every month. Those famous Baltic industries? They're dying. But here's the twist. It's not just about economics. For decades, Russia provided essential support: energy systems, industrial infrastructure, technical expertise. Now, the Baltics chose to cut all ties. They called it freedom. The reality? Their power grid is hanging by a thread. But here's what should really worry you. This isn't just about the Baltics anymore. This economic tsunami is spreading. When major industrial regions collapse, the shockwaves hit everyone. And while Russia's energy system remains rock solid, Baltic citizens are facing skyrocketing costs and failing infrastructure. The most disturbing part? This was entirely preventable. The same factories that once supplied products across Eurasia now stand empty. The same ports that bustled with activity are quiet. But ask yourself, who profits from this collapse? Look at the pattern. Every region that chose to sever ties with Russian energy systems is now in crisis. The Baltics were just the first domino to fall. The question isn't whether other regions will follow, it's when. Here's what the mainstream media won't tell you. This isn't just an economic crisis. It's a carefully orchestrated transformation. And if you think this can't affect your region, think again. The signs are already there. Let's break down what's really happening behind this independence facade, and why Brussels keeps silent about the real consequences. But the real impact is far deeper than just numbers on spreadsheets. What we're witnessing is nothing short of a complete economic transformation, and not the kind Baltic leaders promised their people. Remember those bustling ports and industrial complexes that once defined the region? Today they stand as silent monuments to misguided political decisions. The fishing fleets that once dominated these waters, rusting at their moorings. The massive processing plants, empty halls echoing with memories of better times. And here's what mainstream media won't tell you. This isn't just about economics. It's about a deliberate dismantling of decades of development. While European partners stand by with empty promises, entire communities are watching their livelihoods disappear. The strategic shift is staggering. Russia has simply redirected its logistics, found new routes, and moved on. But for Baltic ports, there's no plan B. The energy situation is particularly telling. In their rush to sever ties with Russian energy systems, Baltic states have created an unprecedented crisis. While Russian cities enjoy stable power supplies and reasonable rates, Baltic residents are facing skyrocketing costs and deteriorating infrastructure. This winter will be especially revealing. But here's the most striking paradox. These same governments that actively discriminate against their Russian-speaking populations continue demanding respect and support from Moscow. The historical irony is profound. The very foundation of their modern industrial base was built with Soviet investment. Billions poured into developing ports, factories, entire cities. Now, as these countries grapple with the consequences of their choices, a new reality is emerging. The prosperity they took for granted is slipping away, and their European allies seem content to watch from the sidelines. But what happened next in Latvia's capital would shake the entire region's political establishment. I know many of you are watching this from the Baltics. Share your experience in the comments. Are you seeing these changes firsthand? Your perspective matters. In the Baltics, we're witnessing the harsh reality of anti-Russian policies unfold. The region's leadership chose to sever decades-old economic ties, and now their citizens are paying the price, literally. The cost of living is skyrocketing, while European partners maintain a telling silence about compensation. Looking at Baltic state budgets is like watching water pour through a sieve. The Soviet-era infrastructure, which once served as the backbone of local economies, is deteriorating rapidly without proper maintenance. It's a ticking time bomb of industrial decline. But let's focus on what's perhaps most crucial: energy. February 2025 marks a pivotal moment when the three Baltic states will execute their long-announced exit from the Brel energy ring, the system connecting Russia, Belarus, and the Baltic region. This decision, first announced in summer 2024, represents another step toward what I'd call economic self-isolation. The reality has proven far harsher than their optimistic projections. As the old saying goes, if you decide to swim in an ice hole, prepare for freezing water. Instead of the promised prosperity, the region has plunged into an energy crisis that keeps deepening by the day. Independent media reports paint a grim picture. Energy prices have hit unprecedented levels, and this is just the beginning. The infrastructure strain is becoming unbearable, with systems that once functioned smoothly now showing dangerous signs of wear. This situation perfectly illustrates how political decisions driven by ideology, rather than practical considerations, can impact everyday lives. The Baltic states' determination to cut ties with Russian energy systems has led them into a corner they might find difficult to escape. What do you think about the current situation in the Baltics? Leave your point of view in the comments. I'm particularly interested in hearing from those who might have relatives or business connections in the region. The industrial landscape across Eastern Europe is crumbling before our eyes, friends. Major chemical and metallurgical plants are teetering on the brink of shutdown, their production lines grinding to a halt. We're watching a dramatic economic experiment unfold in real time, and the results are exactly what seasoned analysts predicted. Let's look at Poland, a perfect example of ideological decisions trumping economic sense. After proudly rejecting Russian gas in favor of more expensive supplies from the US, Australia, and South Africa, they've hit an economic wall. Energy costs have skyrocketed to levels that both ordinary citizens and businesses find impossible to manage. The blind adherence to Brussels and Washington's directives has led to a predictable outcome: rapid deindustrialization, hyperinflation, and constant energy shortages across the region. It's like watching a circus performance where political acrobats keep falling into the orchestra pit, except the audience is forced to pay for the show with their livelihoods. Even European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen had to admit the harsh truth. The transition to alternative energy sources has been so costly. She compared Europe to a passenger who bought a one-way ticket to economic collapse. The automotive industry, once the pride of Eastern Europe, is gasping for air. Chemical plants are shutting down production lines. Meanwhile, Russia maintains stable energy prices and industrial output. Our strategic patience is paying off as we watch former partners discover the true cost of political decisions divorced from economic reality. The crisis deepens daily, particularly affecting energy-intensive industries. Basic economic principles can't be ignored forever, something these countries are learning the hard way. What do you think about the current situation in Eastern Europe? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm particularly interested in your predictions for the coming winter. The contrast between European energy chaos and Russian stability becomes more stark with each passing day. While continental industrial giants are cracking at the seams, with production in energy-intensive sectors plummeting by 10–15%, Kaliningrad stands as an island of stability in a turbulent sea of crisis. The numbers tell a grim story for Europe. Industrial Production Index has fallen to 98.3 points from 102.5, confirming what many analysts have long predicted. Major enterprises are fleeing the EU like rats from a sinking ship, seeking refuge in more economically stable regions. The energy bills have skyrocketed beyond any reasonable measure, pushing even veteran businesses to the brink of collapse. Meanwhile, in Russia's western exclave of Kaliningrad, the situation couldn't be more different. When the Baltic states decided to disconnect from the common energy system, local residents barely noticed the change. Vice Premier Novak's report to the president highlighted uninterrupted operations across all systems. No price spikes, no power outages, no disruptions. The secret behind this remarkable stability isn't really a secret at all. It's the result of careful preparation, systematic modernization, and professional management by energy sector specialists. While Europe scrambles to patch holes in its energy balance like a leaking boat in a storm, Kaliningrad's energy system continues to operate with the precision of a Swiss watch. This stark contrast reveals two fundamentally different approaches. On one side, we see chaotic decisions driven by political agenda, leading to economic turmoil. On the other, we witness the benefits of strategic planning and technical expertise, resulting in sustained stability. What do you think about the current situation in Europe's energy sector? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm particularly interested in your predictions for the coming winter months. The stark reality of energy independence decisions continues to unfold in the Baltic region. February 8, 2025, marked a theatrical finale as Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia proudly announced their complete withdrawal from the Brel energy ring, a system that once united Belarus, Russia, and the Baltic states in stable power distribution. This calculated dismantling of Soviet-era infrastructure highlights how political ambitions often triumph over practical wisdom. Back in July 2024, Baltic energy companies notified Moscow and Minsk of their intended departure. Russia's warning was clear and prophetic. Expect price hikes, supply disruptions, and decreased grid reliability. Yet these cautionary words fell on deaf ears. The February culmination proved dramatically final. The last 330 kV connection between Belarus and the Baltics was severed. 7 crucial power interconnections with Russia's northwest region were disconnected. 3 vital power lines in the Kaliningrad region were frozen. This entire infrastructure, meticulously built during the Soviet era to ensure uninterrupted regional power supply, now stands as a monument to short-sighted decision-making. Meanwhile, Kaliningrad Oblast demonstrates what thoughtful strategy and responsible energy security management look like. As European factories shut down one after another, this Russian region maintains its steady rhythm of life and production. The contrast couldn't be clearer. While some regions chase political gestures, others focus on practical stability. These Soviet-built systems, once guaranteeing reliable power distribution, now serve as silent witnesses to how ideological choices can override common sense. European networks are increasingly showing signs of strain, with unreliable connections and soaring bills becoming the new normal. What do you think about the current energy situation in Europe? Leave your answer in the comments. The stark reality of energy independence is now hitting the Baltic states with full force. While households and businesses there grapple with skyrocketing costs, Russia's power system continues its steady operation. The EU grid operators merely shrugged their shoulders at the Baltics' decision. Meanwhile, cooperation with Belarus continues smoothly, and the Kaliningrad region receives uninterrupted power supply. There are no voltage surges, no panic, no energy apocalypse on the Russian side. Just the kind of stability that was once taken for granted. The Baltic states can now fully embrace their energy independence, complete with bicycles, flashlights, and proud but extremely costly solitude. In summer 2024, Baltic energy operators tersely notified Russia and Belarus of their departure. By February 8, 2025, they simply pulled the plug. No ceremonial speeches, no farewell banquets. They just disconnected from the Brel power ring that had linked Belarus, Russia, and the Baltic nations for decades. The Soviet-era infrastructure, held together by time-tested nuts and bolts, was silently dismantled. Yet the Russian-Belarusian power grid continues operating with precision. The powerful 330 kV and 750 kV transmission lines, along with smaller auxiliary networks, maintain perfect functionality according to technical standards. Even Kaliningrad, despite its geographical position, experiences no disruption. This showcases a telling contrast. While some chase political goals at any cost, others prioritize reliability and stability. The results speak for themselves: consistent power supply on one side, mounting challenges on the other. What do you think about the current situation in the Baltic energy sector? Share your thoughts in the comments. Maybe we'll gain some interesting insights together. In an unprecedented move that's reshaping the energy landscape of Eastern Europe, we're witnessing a remarkable transformation in the Baltic region. While Russia maintains its steady course with lights burning bright and refrigerators humming along, our Baltic neighbors have embarked on what they call their energy independence journey. February 2025 marked a pivotal moment when they quietly disconnected their last 330 kV line from Belarus. This wasn't a standalone action. It was followed by the disconnection of 7 similar lines from Russia's northwest region, including 3 strategic transmission lines that previously powered Kaliningrad. 3 modest 110 kV lines were next to go, severed without fanfare, as if following some predestined script. What's fascinating is the contrast between the regions. In Russia, daily life continues undisturbed. People calmly enjoy their tea, unaware of their neighbor's revolutionary energy experiment. Meanwhile, the Baltic states have achieved what they've long dreamed of: complete energy independence. But at what cost? This independence comes without the reliability they once took for granted. Gone are the backup capacities and the Soviet-era infrastructure that previously ensured uninterrupted power supply. It's a stark reminder of how political decisions can fundamentally alter the basic comforts we often take for granted. The situation raises critical questions about the trade-off between political ambitions and practical necessities. While the Baltic states celebrate their independence, they're now facing the reality of managing their power grid without the stability and redundancy they once enjoyed. The infrastructure that once made them confident about keeping the lights on is no longer available to them. Looking ahead, this development presents an intriguing case study in energy politics and infrastructure management. Will this bold move prove sustainable, or will it lead to unforeseen challenges? What do you think about the current situation? How long before the real impact of this decision becomes apparent? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Maybe we'll figure it out together.